temperature and transfer of heat. Some objects are hot, some are cold. How do we know if they are hot or cold? We can find out by touching. Try this activity. Take 3 large mugs and label them A, B and C. Put cold water in mug A and hot water in mug B. Mix some cold and hot water in mug C. Now dip your left hand in mug A and right hand in mug B. After keeping the hands in the 2 mugs for 2-3 minutes, put both the hands simultaneously in mug C. What happens? Both hands give you different feelings, though they are in the same water. That is because they are comparing to their previous temperature they were in. So checking for hot or cold just by touching is not a good way of measuring. Also, it can be quite dangerous. If things are too hot or too cold, they can damage the skin and the body too. Then, how do we measure heat? In fact, before that, why don't we quickly figure out what heat is? What is heat? Heat is something that is a little difficult to define, but we use it a lot in everyday life. It is something that makes things hot. As it makes things hot, we also see that it can do some work. If we heat water in a vessel and put a lid on it, the steam causes the water to move. A pressure cooker also blows off steam after it is heated. When water is heated, it turns into steam. The steam, as you have seen, can lift the lid of the vessel. Steam can do work, so heat can do work. Anything that can do work is a form of energy. So heat can be said to be a form of energy. We can define heat a little better now. Heat is a form of energy. Now, let's come back to our question, how do we measure heat? To measure heat, we have to find out how hot a thing is. How hot a thing is measured by its temperature. And temperature is found using a thermometer. How can you find out which substance has more heat? You can use a thermometer and find the temperature of the substances. The substance that has more heat is hotter. So the substance that has higher temperature has more heat. Do you know what units we use to measure heat? Heat is measured in degrees Celsius. So, the indicator of heat in a substance is its temperature. Have you used a thermometer? You may have seen a digital thermometer. You reset it and then make the bulb touch the object that you want to measure the temperature of. Then, the thermometer measures the temperature of the object. There are also thermometers like this that are not digital.
Might have seen doctors using a device for measuring temperature. What is it? It is a thermometer. The type of thermometer which is used to measure temperature of our body is called a clinical thermometer. Let's understand its structure. It is a long narrow tube with same thickness throughout the length. On one side of this tube, there is a bulb which contains mercury. For reading the temperature, there is a scale printed on thermometer. The normal temperature of human body is 37 degrees Celsius. However, it can vary between 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. Therefore, the clinical thermometer has reading from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. Here, you must have understood that 35 and 42 are numbers and degrees Celsius is a unit of temperature. There is a very fine tube which originates from the bulb. It is called capillary tube. With rise in temperature, mercury expands in this tube. The capillary tube is bent near the bulb. It prevents mercury from flowing back into the bulb immediately. It gives more time to read the temperature. To get more correct reading, there are some divisions between two consecutive numbers. If there are 10 divisions, then each division signifies 1 by 10, that is equal to 0.1 degree Celsius temperature. And if there are 5 divisions, then each division suggests 1 by 5, that is equal to 0.2 degree Celsius temperature. How to use a thermometer? Before using thermometer, you should wash it with some antiseptic solution. Also, give some jerks to it so as to bring the mercury level falls below 35 degrees Celsius. Now, place the bulb of thermometer under your tongue. Keep it as it is for 1 minute and let the mercury expand in the tube. Now, take the thermometer out and find out the reading shown by the mercury. Just now you have identified your body temperature. Here is a sample value which is showing 37 degrees Celsius and 0.4 degrees Celsius, that is 37.4 degrees Celsius. For temperature measurement, there are units other than Celsius, such as Kelvin and Fahrenheit. Their scales also vary from that of Celsius scale. Always remember, never use a clinical thermometer for measuring the temperature of hot objects other than human body. It may break.
That is because this thermometer is only for measuring body temperature. So it is called a clinical thermometer. The thermometer that you see in the laboratory looks like this. That has a higher range. Why does the mercury level change in the tube when the bulb touches a substance? Well, that is because the heat from the substance transfers to the bulb and then to the mercury inside. And mercury expands when it gets heat and contracts when it loses heat. When it expands or contracts, it has no other place to go except in the tube. So you see the levels changing when you bring the bulb in contact with different substances. Now, you are probably wondering how heat transfers from one place to another and also how heat makes things expand or contract. Let's find out about that.
Heat can be transferred from one object to other by conduction, or convection, or radiation. When heat from one object gets transferred to other object by direct contact, it is known as conduction. For example, when we make tea, heat from stove gets transferred to steel pan because of direct contact, and thus this is conduction. When you iron your clothes, heat energy gets conducted from iron to clothes. In convection method, movement of particles of liquid or gas cause transfer of heat from heat source. Let's take an example of pot of water. As we heat it, water particles near the heat source gets heated first. We know that addition of heat causes increase in movement of particles, thus these particles move randomly and a relatively empty space is formed. To fill this space, particles from far areas move here. Again these particles acquire heat energy and move away. This process goes on and whole water becomes hot. In conduction and convection, there is a medium in which heat gets transferred. But there is no medium between sun and earth, still we get heat from it. When heat transfer takes place without any medium, it is called radiation. You must have seen people sitting around the fire. Here too, heat is transferred in the form of radiation. In fact, every hot body radiates heat and becomes cold. Let's take an example of boiling water on a stove. From stove, heat conducts to pot as it is directly in contact. Due to convection, all the water particles receive heat. If you bring your hand very close to side of the pot, you will feel little hotness. This is because radiations coming from pot.
What did we just learn? Heat is a form of energy. Heat makes a substance hot. How hot a substance is can be measured using a thermometer. A thermometer measures temperature in degrees Celsius. Heat flows from a hotter substance to a colder substance.